Looking at the teams right now, we have Adagio, Arden, and Blackfeather on one side, with Rebel Tigers playing this Catherine, Glaive, and Celeste. And we've seen a lot of these comfort picks come out before. On the side of Snow Avalanche, what we're looking at this towards this game is how much of a threat this Blackfeather is. And on the side of Rebel Tiger is they have to make sure that they don't make the exact same mistakes as last game. If they're going to be chasing around this Blackfeather into that late game while he's building up his breaking point stacks, they will die. They need to take out this Adagio first. And as long as Rebel Tiger is able to maintain their positioning and on that glaive, using the afterburn to peel for their Celeste, I think that Rebel Tiger will come out with the win this one. But we'll throw it to the casters and we'll let this game run.
All right, thank you very much, Rome. We're onto the fold for the final time of this third-place game between Snow Avalanche and Rebel Tigers. Vedius, it's been a very hard-fought series for these guys, but who do you think will clinch it in the final game?
Well, originally I felt like Snow Avalanche had the edge, but given what I've seen from Rebel Tigers so far, I think that they have a great shot at being able to close out this series, especially seeing as now they've come back to the lineup that they were running yesterday. They have Arc Lost, or hang on a second, because Rebel Tigers want to fight.
Bash is being very aggressive here, leading the charge and helping HF Guy. You got to remember how much damage an Adagio can do right off the bat in this early game. He's got his boots picked up, so he's going to be chasing onto Moles. Bash doesn't have a lot to get him closer, though. It might be kind of difficult to finish this kill off. There's a Vanguard. It's not going to be enough. Moles gets away whilst Green Hornet farms those back camps.
And this is very smart from Green Hornet, realizing that the chase was coming out down onto Moles, so he wants to take advantage of as much as possible. So moving on to these back camps, realizing that he's probably going to lose his own back camps, secures himself some farm and experience in this early game. But Araxi, he wants to try and stop this.
He does. He is going to be collapsing onto Green Hornet right now. They are both level 2 with a decent amount of scaling, although Green Hornet finding that back camp has actually leveled up to level 3. Will it be enough, though? Araxi moving away towards the lane. It looks like maybe he wants to swap his focus onto the minions dying to the tower because he's losing a lot of farm. We've also got HF Guy coming in here trying to find a kill onto Arc Lost in space. Can't get that last auto attack down, though. He just barely escapes. That was a series of unfortunate events, I feel, for Avalanche. They didn't get any of what they were going for there.
No, and the thing is, even after that pressure, they weren't even able to build that much of a lead off the back of it either. Yes, they end up forcing Arc Lost back, and he's going to lose a little bit of farm off the back of that, but still, in the grand scheme of things, the game is still very even. So even with a very aggressive playstyle coming out from Snow Avalanche, Rebel Tigers do a good job to lose not too much in terms of this early game.
Yeah, it was an admirable performance by them, and I like the fact that they kind of, well, for example, we saw Arc Lost just push the lane really rapidly as soon as Araxi left, so you had to make a choice. So you're going to lose all these minions, which is a lot of gold, or you're going to pick up Green Hornet. And in the end, I guess he made maybe the wrong choice. But now Tigers are grouping up, in fact. They are gathering as 3 and beginning to invade a little bit. Arc Lost in space, trying to back up his team and secure themselves some kind of an edge here in the early game.
They certainly are, and this is the thing that I wanted to talk about initially, and it's this roaming combination of Green Hornet and Moles that we saw a lot of during the semi-finals. These two love to walk into the enemy jungle together, constantly looking for these plays, and when you have this Glaive Adagio combo, Glaive Catherine combo, it can make for a very heavy stun combo if you do not respect the positioning or the damage that they have in this early game.
Whoa!
So,
Arc Lost in space just got melted. Very high damage coming out of Raxi right off the bat there. Got to remember how much that lunge can do when he builds up the Heartbreak stacks onto you. Mole's only going to take a little bit of poke there.
Wow, I didn't even notice that was happening. It happened so quickly. Araxi with the aggressive plays in lane. And this now comes back to what we were talking about in relation to Arc Lost. He had a phenomenal game 1. His positioning was a little bit debatable in game 2, and now in game 3 he's losing 1 versus 1 against the phenomenal laner of Araxi, as now Arc Lost is the target focus again.
Yeah, but this time Moles is here for the turnaround. Core Collapse doing a great stun onto Araxi there. We've actually got a gank from Green Hornet too. Very nice afterburn, keeping him in range for Arc Lost and him to take down the kill. It's 1 for 1 right now, only 4.5 minutes into the game.
So this is good. This is what we saw during game 1, when Moles rotated up and provided that little bit of additional support for Arclost, because a lot of pressure tends to go down onto this individual. And then with a great gank from Green Hornet on this glaive, they were able to set up a kill onto Araxi so that he is now equal to Arclost in this early game. So scores now balancing out, gold still very even. And question is, who's going to be the first team to come out ahead in this game? I'm expecting Tigers to be the more aggressive players during the early game, but from what we've seen so far, that hasn't been quite the case.
No, it hasn't actually. Avalanche have been very, very aggressive, even though they maybe have not been able to support that aggression as much as they would like. It hasn't been paying off too well. You got to remember how strong Glaive is early on at setting up these kills with the afterburn, especially when he's backed up by Catherine and that stun. You know, there's a lot of crowd control on the side of Tigers. HF Guy, though, roaming in here, trying to maybe find something. Green Hornet easily able to speed away, though.
So right now it is once again Snow Avalanche being the aggressors, moving in towards the enemy jungle. And we need to come back to this vision control that we talk about a lot, because I think scout traps are important. But hang on, HF Guy, you've been caught out.
You are kiting the wrong way, sir. Moving towards the enemy base is very risky. There's a solar storm coming across. HF Guy just barely getting away with the Vanguard. Green Hornet didn't quite land his ultimate there, so he wasn't able to find the kill. He's still moving forward, though. They know, because of the scout trap that just popped, where he is heading. Moles might try and find a stun. HF Guy, do not be greedy and go for that farm. It would be a very big mistake. Moles, he's looking for the engagement. Finds Bash, not the target he's looking for. And it looks like Tigers are going to just back off, start up this gold mine.
This is a bit of a risky decision to make, but Arclost, given his positioning, is just soloing away Snow Avalanche. They are too afraid to walk into that core collapse and the heliogenesis, and here comes the fight.
The gold mine picked up right before that, so Avalanche don't have anything to fight for other than kills. Moles, with the health potion at the last second, does buy a little bit more time for his team to do the work, but are they going to be able to find any more? Araxi, he's going to jump in, but he goes down. He bit off more than he can chew, and Bash, the lone survivor for the side of Avalanche, going to have to seek shelter under his turret.
I think there was a bit of miscommunication right there from Snow Avalanche at the end, because Araxi goes in for the aggressive play, and I think he was expecting Bash to provide support with the Vanguard, but he didn't realize that it was still on cooldown, and that support just wasn't there, so he ended up dashing into his death, which resulted in RebelTiger securing themselves 2 kills as well as the gold mine. So there was that early aggression, but it was a lot more calculated than I was expecting, rather than this blind aggression that we're so used to seeing from the RebelTigers. They didn't really have the vision that they needed to properly set that up, but they knew that Snow Avalanche would come to the gold mine, and they knew that if they positioned properly, they could come out ahead in the fight. They took the gold miner, they confidently went for the fight, and they end up coming out ahead.
All right, well, we're going to have to see which one of these teams can keep up the pressure. Obviously, both of them are feeling a lot of that pressure right now, as it is the final game of this best of 3. Like you heard earlier from Blueberries and Don John, it's a very important game. The points that you gain from coming 3rd versus 4th do make a big difference when it comes to qualifying for the Live Championships, the event that everyone wants to be going to. It's going to be in London. It's not that far away. It's about an hour away from me. Very excited. Araxi, though, he actually gets knocked out of the Solar Storm and still killed. There's a lot of damage on the RebelTigers right now.
The RebelTigers, better positioning, better vision control, and now they're looking to set up a siege onto this first turret.
Green Hornet goes down. He had turret aggro when he started attacking Bash. Now the gauntlet comes out. Arc lost in space in a tough spot. Doesn't have a reflex block to get away, but they're trying to turn on to HF Guy. They can't find the kill, and now Moles needs to book it out of there. That was 2 kills traded for 1 and a turret. Not the worst trade, but definitely not the best.
As you rightly said, no reflex blocks completed yet resulted in that fight going heavily in the favor of Snow Avalanche, and Green Hornet overcommitting for that turret ends up in him losing his life, and I don't think he realized that he even had tower aggro, because he seemed to be sitting under that tower for quite a while, and once he was out of the fight, that repositioning tool that the Afterburn provides, as well as a lot of the early game damage that RebelTigers have, was no longer available, which meant that Snow Avalanche saw it as an opportunity that they quickly capitalized upon, getting themselves 2 kills as well as the gold mine. But Araxi, he is now the next target focus, as he's going to quickly disengage from that 3-man unit.
Yeah, it took a lot of brunt damage right there. Mole's doing a great job of being the front line for the Tigers right now. but you've got to be careful, especially when you're pushing so aggressively, to make sure that you don't go under those turrets and get aggro like Green Hornet did there. You get a lot of AoE from Glaive when you're building up crit, for example, so you have to be careful about ambient damage just overflowing onto your opponents. Pulling that aggro gold mine. Started off by the Tigers here. They're going to get a tiny payout, mostly just for that vision control. I think they want to keep up this aggression.
They certainly do. It provides you with good vision control over the bottom half of the map, but hang on, Arc lost.
Good core collapse onto Araxi and HF Guy. There's a Solar Storm. A Silence buys a lot of time there. The Afterburn onto HF Guy. 2 quick kills for Rebel Tigers. Bash, the only remaining member on the side of Avalanche, is actually taking a lot of damage here from a Hornet, but he doesn't have an Afterburn again for another few seconds. Can't commit for even more there. Very nice plays out of Tiger, managing to, even though they got caught, find several kills.
Big credits to Arc Lost right there, being able to land that core collapse to get a double stun onto both Araxi and HF Guy allowed the Fountain of Renewal to regenerate his health long enough to then keep him in the fight, also for long enough to buy enough time for Green Hornet to then join the fight and clean up the kills. But Green Hornet needs to be careful right now.
Just going to Afterburn right through that gauntlet. Moles, on the other hand, going to tank up the damage. Arc Lost in Space is back now, though, and look at Araxi getting bursted out by those Heliogenicide. Is it going to be enough? They're trying to position close to that gold mine, make sure that it's helping them out, and they actually knock HF Guy into it. This is a lot of damage coming out of Arc Lost in Space. This is why I love seeing him on the Celeste every time. It really impresses me. That said, HF Guy and the rest of Avalanche have disengaged fairly well here. They're trying to buy some more time, but the core collapse lands. They want to go back in. Green Hornet, he's going to move towards that gold mine again, try and enlist it to help, but the Snow Avalanche have done a great job of buying time here. That said, Moles, coming back from base, might be able to get the stun down on the Bash to make sure that Arc Lost in Space can kite out. He's actually going to go for HF Guy, but Arc Lost in Space is going to go down to Bash, the gold mine. One more attack would be enough, but it doesn't get into range. This is such a messy fight between the two teams. Ultimately, no gold mine going down, though. It's just a pile of corpses in the middle side of the map.
So that actually ends up being a 1 for 3, but it might be a 2 for 3 if Bash isn't careful. Moles decides not to commit for that fight, but wow, as you rightly said, a bit of a messy engagement. Rebel Tigers, after they lost Green Hornet, after they lost Moles at the very start, Green Hornet and Arc Lost decided to stick around because they wanted to keep the gold mine in their favor, and they felt like if the gold miner would help in their fight, then they could still maintain it because there were a lot of low health targets on the side of Snow Avalanche. But the biggest problem was that they didn't have a minion candy to really ask for the help of the gold mine, so they had to do a lot to get the gold miner involved in the fight. And HF Guy combined with Bash and Araxi all kited around as well, but right now they're going again on for another fight.
Arc Lost in Space starting to kite out here. Big Solar Storm down onto HF Guy. He's looking for those Heliogenesis. Is he going to be able to find the kill, though? Araxi on the flip side in a